Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Come to you live from our comfy couch here on the Gascars Internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for October 9th, 2022, with your host, Peacemaker2448, and Rob on.
God bless him.
What did you do?
Same thing I did with the other.
Did you forget to make sure everything was in place? The downfall of transitioning, of changing the layout. It's remembering to change everything with it.
No, the downfall of changing one thing.
Oh.
You gonna make me go over there to get it too?
It is weird to say that this is the penultimate week for Ace Attorney. Because it doesn't feel like it. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, not really.
It probably doesn't help that the finale of the Ace Attorney series is just the last case of the third game, and it's not like all of season 2 has been building towards that. As much as I try to make it seem that way with the start of the second paragraph of the notes for the first episode.
Also, I think this batch is a prime example of they should have shuffled the episodes slightly. I think it would have threw it off a little bit on the pacing, but it would have made more sense narratively.
Oh, for a turnabout beginning, or what was... No, it is... Yeah, turnabout beginnings to be the first case. Instead, or turnabout beginnings to come first before... damn it. The other Mia case. I completely forgot the name of the case.
No.
Oh.
No. I feel like the first part of Bridge to the Turnabout should have been before Turnabout Beginnings. It would have made more sense. Because you could have led the first episode into the reason why Phoenix is in the hospital looking up the old case.
Yeah.
And then it could have flowed better. Because after I finished watching the batch, I'm like, yeah, this actually could have, you know, drove home a lot harder if they had just did that. And it's not a bad thing, is what's weird. It's just one of those, it's like, that seems like a odd decision to try to keep it, to try to keep the cases concise kind of deal, when really we didn't need to here.
Yeah, it's one of those. We want to keep the cases together because that's how they were experienced in the game instead of breaking it up, because you don't need to do that.
But I feel like from a show standpoint, it would have made more sense to do it that way. Because then that kind of would have set up the beginning for the final case, and then gave us a reason to have a backstory in the middle of it. Yeah, in theory, that would have turned a 7-parter into a 9-parter. So I kind of can understand. But at the same time, it would have worked.
Honestly, you should have just turned it into a fucking 10-parter and just threw in Turnabout Memories into this as well. Because, yeah, the whole crux of the end of the first episode for Turnabout Beginnings is like, yes, this is Dahlia Hawthorne. When you as the audience fucking already knew that as soon as she showed up.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, of course she's Dahlia Hawthorne. Who the fuck else would she be?
I mean, to be fair, I'm right there with you on if we were gonna go all in on it, yeah, just turn this into a 10-parter.
Yeah.
Combine the 3. The only thing would be they would have to probably... They'd have to do some kind of soft transition. Whereas I think what I'm noticing, they've got the perfect transition already there. It's just out of order. And what's really worse about it is the fact that both Turnabout Beginnings and the first part of Bridge to the Turnabout actually reference the same point.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no. You have this right in front of you and you still didn't see this.
Yeah. Weirdly, as I was reading up on stuff, I actually found out that apparently they thought about having Turnabout Beginnings be the first case of the game, of their game, and Turnabout Memories be the one later. So essentially swap those 2 cases in their order. But they decided to do it the other way around.
But see, to me, I almost feel like doing it the other way around doesn't work either. Like, it does, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff that's addressed in Turnabout Beginnings that we see in that case, and it's like, we really needed it all together.
Yeah.
That's one of those, maybe they should have abandoned the whole we must keep the cases together mentality and just kind of not necessarily winged it, but at least took a little more liberties on just mixing and matching.
Yeah. But before we get too much further into Ace Attorney, Geets real quick. Did you get to catch it for the week?
Yep, and as soon as we got the backstory, I knew exactly where we were going.
Yep.
That was, it just flat out did it to it.
Also, I believe this confirms that everyone that has been disqualified is not dead. At least according to the subs I had.
Same.
Okay.
They just go back to their regular life.
I think RTA is the ones that you're watching because they are the first ones that go out. Normally I'm watching Get 'em Corp because I don't get to catch the episode till later. But I'm willing to bet, as I try to grab Get 'em Corp's episode in the background here while we talk, it'll have the same note about, yeah, no, if they are disqualified, they just go back to their normal lives without knowledge of the Desire Grand Prix. It's fine. They are not killed. But if you do die during the Desire Grand Prix, you're just dead.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. Why do we have the stakes so high if they die, but not if they get disqualified? That's why I almost feel like that one was a we bent truth somewhere.
Yeah.
Like either they're not dead when they die in the Grand Prix, or the disqualified people actually are dead. I feel like the way the show can pay that one off, though, as far as to determine which way is the right, is literally just show us someone that either has been disqualified and or killed outside of the Grand Prix.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Mary got his flowers, because I saw the tweet that showed the picture of that, meaning he is not returning. Supposedly.
Meaning more than likely that means that no, everyone is dead.
But Dalpon's actor has not received flowers, and neither has G-Pen's, I believe. Which is the extra, like, wait. Like, Mary is done, but Dalpon isn't, and G-Pen isn't.
Weird.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, oof. Yeah, it's bad that this week's Geats kind of just did the thing that we pretty much knew was coming.
Yeah.
And is it just me, or did it feel like this was the closest we've had to a filler episode so far?
A little bit, yeah.
Because we kind of did all the exposing early and then proceeded to pad out with the partner shuffle. Because tell me that wasn't padding.
A little bit, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I can see that filler a mile away. And that's kind of marginally making me worry. Because if we're already getting filler adjacent stuff right now, because I really wouldn't call that episode a filler. But if we're already getting filler adjacent stuff, it's like, are we gonna have a problem later? Or are we simply just padding out the first phase of it kind of deal? Also, is it just me, or are they actually going to end the first Grand Prix even earlier than what I thought?
It's not ending next week because we don't have Tycoon with his ninja buckle.
Oh no, I know it's not ending next week.
Yeah.
But it is coming very quickly. Like if at this point, in light of the mysterious figure that we have, basically kind of setting the tone for, we're kind of at final boss for the Grand Prix. If you take that into consideration, I doubt this is going to make it to the end of the year. Unless we have a lot of filler. You know that as well as I do.
Yeah. I will just say, as a note, I double checked all of the blogs that they do for the episodes. I only have seen a picture of Mary receiving flowers. Jipen and Dapon, their actors, did not receive flowers on the blog. And I also didn't see anything on Dapon's official Instagram about receiving flowers. So they're still on the table. Which, okay, theory about what's your idea about the dead writers and stuff.
Okay.
What if the dead writers aren't dead, but they get repurposed?
How so, though?
So we have Punk Jack. And, you know, he has the bear head and stuff. And, you know, they don't have him talk at all. And the whole idea of him being, you know, a staff member from the Desire Grand Prix seems a bit fishy.
Mm-hmm.
What if he's not?
What if he's essentially like reanimated corpse kind of concept?
What if it's essentially Shiro? Or Shiroi? Or another writer that was something adjacent to that mask. And they just repurpose them into different masks and stuff as different writers whenever they need it.
Or what if we go a step further? We don't know how many iterations Grand Prix had.
Uh-huh.
What if that actually just was a suit for one of them? That could still be a brand new character for our viewpoint of the show.
Yeah.
While still being a old dead writer.
Because again, as a reminder, folks, Punk Jack is supposed to come back because they're the one with the monster buckle. That is their buckle. So, Punk Jack will return. And apparently,
I can see that, actually.
And it also seems like that Rise Buckles might also be compatible with other writers, since Buffa's friend was the one who had Zombie to start with. I say potentially because that's just a throwing something out there.
I mean, I could see it. Because in all seriousness, it looks like primary color for the helmet is matching primary color for the buckle kind of deal. So I could see one working for more than one rider.
Only problem is that his buddy his color seems to be blue. Because a behind the scenes photo with his actor, or not behind the scenes, well, just a photo of his actor and stuff from his scenes gives us the best look possible of his ID core. And it looks to be the lion one that we've seen. And
unless
it is
they
blue.
Technically just grabbed one. Kind of deal.
I mean, I mean, that wouldn't surprise me because the two writers that are in that same shot as his that are silhouetted or that are obscured. One of them is just straight up Emperor's helmet from Ryuki. The other is the Elephant Amazon from Amazons.
Oh, then yeah, they just totally grabbed something and said, okay, we're making this work.
Yeah.
That's all there is to that.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, to that, I'm gonna say, take that one with a grain of salt. Because for all we know, that could be a ID core for a rider coming up kind of deal.
Yeah. But otherwise, Geats was good. I enjoyed it. I am happy we have good writer. Also, apparently Futopia is almost over because the finale aired at New York Comic Con at the writer panel they had. So I think this next episode is the last one for Futopia. Excuse me. Like, if they're airing the finale, that means I would assume next week's episode is the last one. It also feels like it would be the last one because of how the episode was set up. So you get to binge watch it real soon if you want. Because it'll all
I'll
just
have to
be
get
out.
in the mindset before I do. That's the only bad thing.
Yeah. Anything else before we get to Ace Attorney then? Well, back to Ace Attorney.
No.
All right, then. It is 38 through 42 this week. It is the penultimate batch of episodes. We already pretty much gave our thoughts from these before. So shall we just get into it with 38?
I guess so.
All right, episode 38. Here are the waves of turnabout. Phoenix has received his next case. In this case, it is just Pearl being like, by the way, I broke this fancy C-cell that Maya gave me. Can you help me find a replacement so she doesn't find out and gets upset with me? Because Pearl is like 5 and thinks that Maya would be upset with her over anything. Absolutely anything. But all we have is a hand-drawn map of Maya's that is not helpful at all. Because it's just random things connected together by lines to where this beach is. Thankfully, Phoenix knows Maya way too well and figures out that it's all noodle shops. And that's how he figured out where the beach was. And by noodles, I mean burgers, because dubisms. I love how the subs had to go, it is hamburger noodles. Totally, 100%. There is a hamburger thing in this bowl of ramen somewhere. Absolutely.
Maybe, probably.
Yeah. But as they're traveling, we get to see a little bit of backstory with Maya and Pearl. We see that Pearl's mom is very much a dick, as shown before, and didn't want Pearl to leave the village. But Maya was like, I want to take her to this beach that Bia took me to. So she does it without her permission because fuck her. And that gets her in trouble. But she does bequeath the seashell that she got from Mia to Pearl. And as Pearl was cleaning it this day, which is also the 5th anniversary of this event happening, she dropped it and broke it. But they search the beach. They can't find any. They spot this temple on a cliffside nearby, so they go to visit it and pray for some luck. Until Maya just shows up from behind the wall at this temple. I mean, literally, it's a hidden stone wall that she just walks out from, like, hey guys, how's your day? So she ends up taking them to this noodle stand that's nearby. Pearl ends up running off when she asks them why they're there. She's got the broken seashell. And as they're at the noodle shop, they get served noodles in seashell bowls, which is the exact same seashell that Pearl has, meaning she's been carrying around a fucking noodle bowl this entire time. And Maya has never told her that it is actually a fucking noodle bowl.
And Phoenix did not. It was a noodle.
That part I'm not surprised by. Phoenix is dense as fuck.
I mean, yeah, but he figured out the map.
That's because he knows Maya enough to figure out, this is all ramen places. This is food. Okay. I understand food.
Okay, that makes it even worse.
I know.
He understands food, but he does not understand bowl.
It's a rough time for him.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we get to see a flashback again with Mia giving Maya this seashell as a gift and stuff. That's when they decide to fake one of these balls as the seashell and keep up the alliance up and give it to Pearl. But when they get there, Pearl's all upset. It's like, no, I want to keep this one even if it's broken and missing a piece because it has all these important memories and stuff. So they decide to keep it and stuff. And then as one last flashback, we see that Maya broke the damn thing to start with because she broke it in half when she dropped it at the noodle stand, and then they had to glue it back together for the fucking photo we saw that entire episode. Because, by the way, this is all foreshadowing for a really dumb thing in the future. I'm not kidding. This is all foreshadowing. You could probably guess by me saying foreshadowing about what those two have broke before that Pearl has also broken. It's really dumb. Anyway, what'd you think about our filler episode?
I actually kind of liked it.
Yeah, I wish the show was more of this.
Yeah.
I wish it was more just expansion on what we had in the games and stuff, and gave us more, and instead of exactly what we got in the games, except slightly altered. Speaking of exactly what we got in the games and slightly altered, shall we do Turnabout Beginnings now?
I guess we shall.
All right, episode 39. We are with Phoenix in the hospital because he's incredibly stupid and fucking lucky.
And stupid lucky.
We'll get there, but he's looking into Mia's first case. And that was when she was defending a death row inmate that escaped from prison only to get involved in another murder case that he says he did not commit. So she is defending him. This inmate is Terry Falls, aka Michiru Onomita. Mia believes him, and she also has the assistance of Diego Armando, aka Soryu Kaminogi, aka a person we totally have not met before at all whatsoever.
That totally doesn't like coffee just as much as Diego. and also, definitely is not named Godot.
Yes. Totally has completely different mannerisms from Godot. Absolutely, 100%. They are not the same person. Spoilers, they're the same person. Also, Diego and Mia kind of have a thing for each other. It's not really talked about in the games at all, but they are kind of boyfriend, girlfriend. The endings kind of get into it a little bit because they kind of show bits and pieces of their relationship. But essentially, they have a thing. Anyway, Diego's got the memo that was found on the victim's desk, who is Valia Hawthorne, who was a police officer. And if that last name tips you off on how this case is going to go, strap in. We're in for a ride, folks. Also, she is named Yuki Miyagi in the dub, or in the Japanese. Because I want to mention real quick, when I watched this, it went back and forth between the English version of the subtitles and then the Japanese version of the subtitles. There was no consistency at all, and I don't know why. And I'm pretty sure when I was doing the notes, one of the episodes flipped subs on me from when I watched it the day before. I don't know if you had the same problem or not.
Nope, because I usually watch it all the same day through a different type because I've been watching the dub.
Okay. Yeah, I was having that issue, so I was like, I really need to make sure we get all the names this week. If anyone's watching on Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I gave up on Crunchyroll because of that.
Fair.
Just saying.
But the note was to have Terry meet her on a bridge wearing a white scarf to identify her, because Terry does not remember what Valerie looks like, because this is all involving a case from 5 years ago. We'll get there. To court. Edgeworth is here in his first case as well on prosecution. It's a first for a lot of people. Also, the judge of this case is the brother judge, who is also judge. We'll be meeting him again later. But Miles lays out the initial facts of how Terry threw a kidnapped girl 5 years ago off this bridge into the river below, killing her. That's what got him sent to jail to start with. The victim, Valerie Hawthorne, was on site as the cop attempting to rescue the kidnapped girl, who was her sister, Dahlia Hawthorne. You remember her from Turnabout Memories. That terrible human being. Yep. It gets worse, folks.
Yep.
But the meeting they were having apparently turned violent, and Terry killed Valerie by stabbing her in the back with a knife and then stuffing her in the trunk of a car and then escaping and then getting arrested when they pulled him over and they found the body in the car. Judge is about ready to close the case, but Mia demands a cross-examination. And this is where we get freshly promoted to Detective Gumshoe with a nice new jacket and all.
Yes, where we get homicide detective.
Yeah.
I love that part in the dub. I was like, yep, that is totally a Gumshoe thing right there.
Yep. So Gumshoe here gives us details of his investigation, lays out how Valerie was laid out in the trunk of the stolen car. Terry was in the driver's seat. We also get a photo of them meeting because of an eyewitness that was on a cliffside nearby. But Mia then points out that because the Valerie in the trunk was not wearing a scarf and the Valerie in the picture was wearing a scarf, that's a problem, and that's a contradiction. Except Miles is just like, by the way, I have the scarf. It's a light blue scarf instead of a white scarf, because I guess Valerie couldn't find one that was white. That's where the scarf is. But this is when Mia demands a cross-examination of the witness, and thus enters Melissa Foster, aka Sakato Ibuki, aka totally not Dahlia at all whatsoever, even though she looks exactly like fucking Dahlia. Oops. if honestly, I feel like if you remember Turnabout Memories from a few episodes ago, you know how this case is going to go because Dahlia is there in that case. And there is someone in this case who was not there, but is referenced. So you know things aren't going to go well for art benches. But she does her whole spiel. She also recognized Mia because that's an important plot point for the next case, by the way. That's important for the next case. That she recognizes Mia. But she gives her testimony saying that she simply was taking photos with her camera on a tripod when she witnessed the murder and took the picture, and then saw it get violent and the guy killed Valerie. Mia points out that Terry could have just dumped Valerie's body in the river like he did Dahlia 5 years ago, but he didn't, which is a problem. But then Melissa's like, well, I saw him stuff Valerie in a car. And Mia's like, how the fuck did you see that? Ma'am, how the fuck did you see that happen? So this is when Mia concludes that, you must have been the one that put Valerie in the car. You must be the murderer. It's all a frame job. And this is when Diego pops up to be like, you know, this Dahlia isn't too far off from looking like you from 5 years ago, and your ages kind of line up. That seems a little suspicious, isn't it? So we end the episode with the question of who the fuck is the witness? For everyone that isn't in Rosie, I guess. Because it's Dahlia. So this takes us to episode 40, the second half of Turnabout Beginnings. Melissa tries to serve the court by being like, no, I was out of country until like last year in some war-torn country where I have no identification papers at all whatsoever to say who I am in any way, shape, or form. Totally, 100%, I am a war orphan. I love how much Mia does not buy this fucking bullshit at all. But then she mentions the white scarf, and glad she didn't wear a white scarf because no one in the courtroom said a white scarf when she entered. So how the fuck did you know about the specific color of scarf? This is when the memo gets brought up, and we see down there that Valerie wanted to go public with something that happened 5 years ago and to talk to her sister about it, since, you know, if she's talking to her sister must not be dead. So at this point, Terry lays out what happened. So 5 years ago, the kidnapping that Terry did was fake kidnapping, and it was to extort a big fancy diamond that was worth 200 million yen.
I think.
Or it wasn't a diamond, it was a jewel of some kind. It looked like a ruby thing, but it was worth 200 million yen, and it was extorted out of Dahlia's jewelry parents for them, but Dahlia and Valerie were the masterminds behind it, and Terry was just the fall guy because his name is Terry Falls. Pun. So they betrayed him. Dahlia took a swan dive off the bridge, escaped with the jewel, and Valerie made up that Dahlia was dead. So with all this on the table, we now have two people who would want Valerie dead, as Edgeworth argues. And Dahlia laughs off the whole thing, but since Mia has no practical evidence to show this is all to be true, but Diego's like, no, we still have a trump. We have Terry. Just have him testify again. So Mia talks Terry into testifying, but only after Dahlia gives him my life is in your hands, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know what to do. So Diego asks for a drink and gets a cup of coffee from Diego. And that's when Terry takes the stand and says that he met Valerie, not Dahlia. Totally, 100%. He is not lying at all. Even as he's being threatened with going back to jail again, Mia tries to talk him down. But that's when we find out that Terry arrived super early at the crime scene. And that time he arrived early, he got something from under a tree. And that something was involving a promise between the pair of them that if they ever betrayed each other, or ever attempted to betray each other, they would drink this potion. And Terry drank the potion, and as we see, it is the same locket that was in the Phoenix, that was in Turnabout Memories. And Terry starts dying. He collapses and dies in Mia's arms, and Dahlia gets away with murder. Again. We cut to later that day after the trial. Mia and Diego are broken up about this, but Diego's like, no, we will find justice, as he breaks a coffee mug in his fucking hand. His bare ass hand. He just crushes it. That's some grip strength, I tell you what. But unfortunately for them, this case still has consequences all these years later, because we see that Phoenix is in the hospital researching this case amongst, I would assume, Turnabout Memories as well, because the past has come back to haunt both Phoenix and Maya. So how'd you feel about Turnabout Beginnings?
I still feel like it's in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
There's a better spot to put it. But all in all, pretty good going into what we're going into on the end. But
yeah, I like that it ends with Phoenix in the hospital, because you're there like, why the fuck is Phoenix in the hospital? Wait, what happened? Why is he looking into this case? Oh no, what bad thing happened? Because, you know, we haven't seen Phoenix properly injured at all this entire show, I feel like.
Yeah.
So, kind of sells the seriousness of all this, especially when, like, this ending scene bleeds into the end credits as a, yeah, something bad happened. But shall we get to the bad thing that happened?
I guess we shall.
All right. This is Bridge to the Turnabout, the first part of 7 with episode 41. Phoenix intros us in with narration about the nature of the 7-point sword that I don't remember the actual name of, and I'm just going to call it the 7-point sword. It's the big fancy sword that was in the Ami statue from the stolen Turnabout. And within the reflection of the sword, we see a bunch of images from different cases and stuff we've had over the course of the show. So the first case, the first proper case with Mia's death, Maya being framed for murder. The second time, amongst other things. But as I kind of put here in the notes, this all begins with DL6, continues through Mia's first 2 cases, and further still through Maya's close calls. And all of those different cases, all those different lines have led us here, because they all end here. Atop this snow-covered mountain in a remote temple, a murder has happened, and both Phoenix and Maya are at the center of it all. Not quite what I have wrote down, but that's the gist of it. But before we get to all of that, we got to go back to how this case started, with Phoenix, Pearl, and Maya heading to a remote temple for Maya's training. And there is a picture in the magazine that Phoenix actually sees in game well before he makes this trip, but he does not see this now. But we do. It is certainly is a picture.
Yeah.
Hello, person. That's gonna be a complicated thing to explain here next week. But yeah, they're heading to this remote temple for Maya to do a special training course for spiritual channeling. They meet the head priest Bikini, aka Bikini, because I don't know why this lady is called Bikini, she just is. But she gets them settled and describes the extreme training Maya's about to undertake, which kind of freaks her out, but she goes through it anyway because fucking Maya has the will of fucking God, I guess. She has been through so much shit at this point, and yet she's still charging along, happy as can be. Where the fuck does she get it from?
Very good question.
But she leaves the trio, and then we get to meet our other guests at the temple, Elise Diaxium, aka Irisu Tenryusa, who is a child book author and illustrator. And she's famous. Pearl is a big fan of hers, and she invites Pearl to help cook. She does decline Maya's offer, and I will also point out that she calls Maya by name, even though
it is never mentioned.
None of them tell her name. Tell them their names. But she knows Pearl.
I saw that. And I'm like, wait a minute. I had to rewind to verify that I was right on that. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Doesn't she also call Pearl by name? But I think she hears Pearl's name.
I think she might have heard Pearl's name.
Yeah, but she calls Maya by name.
Yeah.
And no one notices. But yeah, so the two of them go to cook. Maya and Phoenix depart to go check out the training grounds that are across this rickety-ass bridge in the back of the temple. When they get there, they meet Iris, aka Ayami, aka trauma for Phoenix. Complicated trauma for Phoenix. Oh, I can't imagine how mixed his feelings must be looking at this person. Because on one hand, it's my girlfriend from a long time ago. But on the other hand, right, that's the girlfriend that was a murderer and a kind of a serial killer and almost had me murdered. Wait. Fucking Phoenix has trauma. Has a lot of trauma, I feel like. So does Maya. But anyway, she quickly greets them, but then she runs off because Phoenix, recognizes her as a spitting image of Thalia because, yeah, she looks a whole lot like Thalia. But Phoenix then gets distracted by Maya, who spots the scroll depicting her mother, Misty Faye, aka Maiko Asada. We also get the note that she doesn't remember what her mother looks like, so she only recognizes her on the scroll because of the symbol of a master of a spiritual technique that is on there. But they leave then, and as they're coming back, they meet Elise's apprentice, Lawrence Diaxium, aka Masaru Tetsuya, aka fucking Larry. Because of course Larry is here.
You gotta have the butt of all jokes.
Yeah. They pretty much no-sell Larry's bullshit until Iris and Pearl fucking drift in on a goddamn snowmobile to be like, by the way, dinner's ready. Like, damn, Iris, have you been practicing? You just drift in there casually right next to them. But they have dinner, which is curry. Goes well. Misty invites Pearl to come to her room since Maya's going to be busy with her training all night to read books and stuff and keep her preoccupied. Maya ends up departing for her training. Bikini goes with her to oversee it. Iris is told to prepare to ring the bell for 10 o'clock. And we fast forward to later in the night, where Phoenix actually runs into Iris and asks her to remove her nun hood so to properly look at her. And yep, same hairstyle and stuff. Totally not suspicious at all, and totally not trauma-inducing for Phoenix. But we find out from Iris that she has never left the temple since she arrived, and she even offers Phoenix her hood to protect her from evil spirits and stuff. And we also find out from Phoenix that Dahlia is in fucking prison. So, like, this is not Dahlia for anyone wondering. Iris is, in fact, a separate person. This is not a ploy. So, yes, there are twins involved in this. You might want to remember that. So, Phoenix gets the hood and Iris leaves to go ring the bell and stuff. We fast forward a few hours later. Phoenix wakes up to a crash. That's when he heads out to the courtyard, and we see the statue of Ami we've seen from Stolen Turnabout with the 7-pointed sword. Except at the end of the sword is Elise, dead, impaled on said sword. And Bikini is passed out, which Phoenix ends up waking up because he runs into her. She tells him to call the police. Phoenix doesn't have his cell phone because he left it at the office, so he has to go to the phone that's at the bridge. But when he gets to the bridge, it's on fire. So that's when he tells Larry, who showed up, like, call the police, I'm gonna go save Maya. So Phoenix runs across this burning bridge to save Maya.
Because what could possibly go wrong?
Well, he ends up falling through said bridge into the river below. I'm going to point out that this bridge across this cliff is several stories up a rushing river. Now, we know someone survived falling into this river, but it is also the dead of fucking winter with snow and shit in the air, meaning that river water is fucking cold. Hold that thought. We'll get there. So we check in with Miles at a local hotel because he's in country at the moment. Larry phones him and tells Miles everything. And that's when we catch up with Phoenix, who is in the hospital with no injuries and a fucking cold. I repeat, he has no injuries, and the only thing that is affecting him is a really bad cold from falling into a raging river from a bridge several stories high. You should be fucking dead. Phoenix Wright, you should be fucking dead. How? How are you this fucking lucky? I don't think I can't believe this because, by the way, this is another counter on the Phoenix Wright should be fucking dead from the bullshit he's endured counter. We are at 2. Unfortunately, that's where we have to stop for the series. But don't worry, that gets to at least, I believe, 4. But from Phoenix recapping things, we find out that Iris has been arrested for the murder of Elise, and Phoenix is in no shape to defend her. Also, Maya is stuck on the other side of the bridge because rescue attempts are on hold because the bridge is fucking gone, and the weather is preventing a chopper from getting in because of the winds and stuff. So Miles dropped by, Phoenix fills him in, and then asks him a big favor to be a defense attorney for a day. Can you go defend Iris for me, please? Pretty please. I know there's probably some legal thing that makes this, illegal, but please, for me. Like, I'm pretty sure this is illegal. Like, very illegal.
Probably.
But Miles goes and does it. He agrees. I will also point out that in the games, he gets the Magatama at this point. And as someone who's, skeptical of all the spiritual bullshit that's in the Phoenix Wright games, his first experience is talking to Dahlia Iris, and seeing Cyclops on her. And it freaks him the fuck out. Because, yeah, he gets to see firsthand spiritual bullshit. But unfortunately, that's not here in the game. Or in the show. So, Miles takes the case. He goes and talks to Iris. Iris tells him that she was in her room the whole night after she rang the bell. She did not kill Elise. Miles also is like, look, I know the deal between you and Phoenix. You needed to tell him the truth. Gotta be honest with him. So Miles then leaves, makes arrangements for the trial the next day, and heads to the temple to investigate, which is where we end the episode to take us to part 2, episode 42. At the temple, Miles meets with Gumshoe, who he tells about being a defense attorney for a day, and, Gumshoe flips the fuck out about this. But he does agree to help, because it's kind of his job to help the defense. Sometimes. By leaking info, as Miles put it. Which I'm pretty sure means that Miles knows every time Gumshoe has leaked info to Phoenix and crew.
I mean, yeah.
So they meet with Bikini. She gives her side of things. She says she came back from the temple after meeting with Iris over there to relieve her since her back was acting up. This, of course, contradicts Iris's testimony since she was in her room all night. But then she also says she saw Iris in the courtyard with the sword stabbed into Lisa's back. And then she passed out afterwards. Also, Pearl is MIA because they can't find her. Meaning that both of the Fays are in trouble in this one case. Good fucking lord. So Gumshoe organizes a case to find Pearl, or organizes a search for Pearl, while Miles goes and gets to the courtyard. Gumshoe catches up with him to give him details of Elise's death. We find out that she has injuries from falling from somewhere high up, about 2 stories high, meaning right now we assume she fell out of a window, and that the sword killed her and she died from blood loss. At this point, Miles gets a feel for what it's like to be Phoenix Wright with I see how fucked he is on a normal basis. I kind of understand now. We also find out that Godot is MIA, which is a plot point, by the way. That Godot, of all people, is MIA on this case at the current moment. But Miles is unfazed since he has scheduled a different judge, aka Brother Judge, and a specific prosecutor for this case. They then go to a shack where Larry is staying. He doesn't help at all with his testimony because it's Larry. And then he runs off when Miles is like, what the fuck did you actually see? And Larry's like, I don't want to talk about it, bye. So we go to the trial. Brother Judge is here overseeing it. And Francesca is back for the first time this season as prosecutor. And when the judge is like, I recognize this defense attorney. Is he a prosecutor? And both of them are like, it's just your imagination.
I love They both are actually on the same page.
Yeah, it feels like Francesca may have found the same answers that Miles did in the time we haven't seen her. I wish we got a little bit of that character development in the show, but oh well.
It is what it is.
Yeah. Fran lays out the facts in the current theory of stuff. When Bikini takes the sand, she holds to her side of events, including how Iris was both at the Inner Temple and the courtyard, and that also at the Inner Temple, she had her hood on, which is impossible because Phoenix has her hood in her possession at the moment. So what the fuck? The sword is also brought up, but Miles counters because the testimony said that the sword was shoved into the hilt by Bikini. And Miles is like, that's fucking impossible with this big ass fucking sword, especially since the blood is not, up to the hilt. But that's when Bikini's like, that's not exactly what I said. I just said that Iris was holding the sword as it was stabbed into Elise's back. It kind of was already there from the looks of it. I don't know why Iris had her hands on the sword. But that doesn't help Miles's case because then the snowmobile and the fact that the murder weapon is now MIA, possibly in the river. And Iris is like, I decline to comment about where the snowmobile was during the events of this. So this means the trial is over. Only for Larry to drop in from the gallery above to be like, I am here to give testimony and save the day. Says Larry of all fucking people.
Yep.
Which means it's not going to go well.
Nope.
So, how do you feel about Bridget Turnabout so far?
I mean, so far there's a lot going on.
Yeah, don't worry. There's more.
Oh, I'm sure.
We have only accessed half of the available crime scene. We're not even into the other half of the crime scene at this current moment, which is the Inner Temple and stuff. We still don't even know where the fuck Maya is. We don't even know where the fuck Pearl is. Because we still have 5 episodes left. Like, here's the thing, folks. The reason Bridge to the Turnabout is 7 parts is because, for all intents and purposes, it's the end of the original trilogy of Phoenix Wright. Because, like I said, this pretty much wraps up all of the, little, Maya Fey, Phoenix Wright, little character things from over the course of all 3 games. So it's a lot to take in, because also a lot of people come back for this case. But yeah, it is a really good setup for more or less our final week of Ace Attorney. But anything else?
No.
All right, then. Tomorrow, as I double check because I want to make sure. Yep. Stop autoplay. Stop it.
Autoplay. That's why I use the app, because then the schedule editor doesn't do that.
I am using the app.
You're not signed in, then.
I'm aware. So tomorrow, Tommy is doing a Windbreaker Rando. Thursday, I might be doing some Splatoon 3. It depends on how work goes this week. I'm honestly not even sure what we're doing this week after the week of being up front in hell. Friday will be some Star Citizen co-op. Saturday will be a rampant gaming of some kind.
Yep. No clue.
And then next Sunday will be us wrapping up the Ace Attorney anime with the final 5 episodes and the rest of Bridge to the Turnabout. Which means I have about a week to figure out the fuck we're doing next. I have 2 immediate ideas in mind. One requires work, one requires no work. We might be doing the no work idea.
I mean, that's par for the course.
Mainly because I don't want to have to get all these episodes downloaded and uploaded to the drive for you to be able to watch it easily. Because one idea is us doing Transformers Armada, since it's on Tubi and stuff. The other is to do Kamen Rider Hibiki. Hibiki requires me to actually get the episodes downloaded and uploaded to the drive. I don't feel like doing that right now. Do what?
No, it don't.
No?
Don't believe it would. You said Hibiki, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't. Same site that I've been using to watch Geats has it. It just might not be the same subs. But we can deal with that.
I was about to say, I think the only group that has subbed Hibiki is TV Nihon.
I mean, let me double check that it's actually got the episodes listed, but it is coming up as if it does, so.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah, it's got every episode there.
Okay. We might do Hibiki just because. Because I think I still have Hibiki episodes. No. Oops. I should download those episodes.
I'm gonna do this. Got it too. Like I said, the same place I watch Geats from. Now, the first couple of episodes I did, and I had a different site because they didn't have the Geats page up early enough for me. And I was like, I know someone subbed it early. Come on now.
Don't mind me, I'm checking the episode real quick.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it's the TV Nihon subs.
I thought figured, but never know.
I felt like TV Nihon were the only ones that have ever subbed Hibiki in any capacity.
I mean, it was all uploaded to the site on the same day. So that's one of those that kind of tells me that has to be all from the same subgroup. Because otherwise, why wouldn't it have been in batches or something?
Yeah. Okay, correction. 2 groups have done Hibiki. OCC Live have done Hibiki as well, but they did it as the Blu-ray release of the series. TV Nihon did the original broadcast of the series, I think.
Which is probably what.
Yes. But yeah, I guess we'll do Hibiki next because that's the weird oddball Kamen Rider show, and I feel like actually finishing it, and this is probably the only way I'm gonna finish it. Is to drag you along with it. Because
as long as I don't get the same feel that I did going into Saber, then I will ride it out. You know as well as I do, I dropped Saber before it could get dumb. Because it did not feel right.
I don't put it this way. I don't think Hibiki will do anything wrong until we get to the staff change. That is 30 plus episodes into the series. I think once we get there, we're gonna have problems.
But I also feel like once I get there, I am gonna be at the point where I'm like, I am invested, I will finish.
You sure about that?
Nope. But seeing as how the only show that we dropped super early, we dropped in the teens. If we can make it that far, then I'm almost positive that we'll be at the screw it, we'll finish it.
Okay, because I was about to say it. The writer who took over the show was Toshiki Inoue when they did the staff change. You know, our old friend Toshiki Inoue. Oh god, why does this man haunt us?
You do realize I will be reminding you that this was your decision, right?
I'm aware.
Okay. As long as we got that out of the way now, then we're good.
All right. But yeah, that is the week ahead, folks, and a little bit more. So if you like what you're seeing, drop a follow. I really appreciate it. Chip away that Philly call at Teachers on Twitter to see updates on life, especially when Discord chat. Just like drop by, say hi. See you. Tommy will see you tomorrow.